Okay, we're going to do some subtraction with regrouping across zeros. So the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to write the problem, lining up our numbers. And then once I write it, I realize that I can't do 0 minus 2. So I have to borrow. So my 0 is going to become a 10, and I borrowed from my 5, so my 5 becomes a 4. And then I can take and borrow. So 10 minus 2 is 8, and 4 minus 3 is 1. So my answer is 18. And then I can go to my next one. And I'm going to do the same thing. The first thing that I'm going to do is that I'm just going to line up my numbers. All right, I start on the right. I can't do 0 minus 9. So I go next door and I look at my second 0 and I can't do anything with it either. So I go all the way to my 4 and I borrow from 4. My 4 becomes a 3, which would make my middle 0 become a 10. But then I have to borrow from that 10 in order to help my last 0 become a 10. So where I had a 10, it now becomes a 9. I do 10 minus 9 is 1. 9 minus 8 is 1. And 3 minus 1 is going to give me 2. So my answer is 211. I start with number 3, lining up my numbers, and then I'm going to subtract. I can't do 1 minus 5. My 1 has to become an 11. So I had to borrow from here, but I can't borrow from 0, so I go all the way to my 5. My 5 becomes a 4. My 0 then became a 10, but just like on the last problem, it had to actually drop down to a 9 so that I could make this 1 become an 11. Then I do 11 minus 5 is 6. 9 minus 8 is 1. And 4 minus 3 is 1. So I get 116. And then the last one that we're going to do together, we're going to do the same thing. Line up our numbers. And then subtract. But on this one, I can do 7 minus 3, so I don't have to borrow there. 7 minus 3 is 4. When I get to the next digit, though, I can't do 0 minus 8, so now I have to borrow. Mark out my 0. I go to my 4. My 4 is going to become a 3. My 0 becomes a 10. And then I can do 10 minus 8. That gives me 2. But I can't do 3 minus 5. So I have to go next door. My 2 becomes a 1. That 3 now becomes a 13. 13 minus 5 is 8. And 1 minus 1 is 0. So I don't have to write down my 0. So my answer is 824. Now you're going to take and do some on your own. On the back side of this page, there's some more for you to practice.